All right, so we have this missile robot car, space patrol robot car, this tan car with a blue gun, the circus robot car, this silver robot car. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute, we're missing the prop flying robot car.
It's another video from Ozzy's Robot. But you got a banana collection.
Hey everyone, welcome back and come on in. It's the best time of the day. Post-war tin toys from Japan, especially if they feature robots and robots driving vehicles. Maybe this was a harbinger of the Tesla self-driving car, or what do they call the self-driving? Autonomous driving. Maybe it was, except back in the 50s and 60s, they thought a robot would be driving. But now it might be just software. Anyway, before we get into it, if it's morning where you're at, kick back in your cozy, comfortable Abarco lounger or the revolving stool at your local diner. Grab your steaming and delicious, nutritious, sweltering cup of coffee or tea, stir it, clank it, take a sip. I'm just working on some Poland Spring water. You know, I haven't seen Poland Spring in a dog's age. They still use that term, a dog's age. This was actually at Staples. I'm like, how come Staples has Poland Springs and my local supermarket doesn't? I don't know. Well, but if you're like me and you rub the Sandman out of your eyes now, it's the afternoon here, so. But maybe it's the morning if you're an East Coaster like me. And let's proceed and look at the prop flying robot car. You know, Tesla's working on this robotaxi, and hey, I'm going to tell you my perspective on this. Personally, if you've watched Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, when did that come out? Was it a 90s movie? It wasn't 80s, was it? Maybe it was 80s. I don't think it was the 2000s, but remember they had the Johnny cab and it had that little automaton driving it? That's what I want from my robotaxi. I don't want software. I want AI in the form of a humanoid, and then I feel more comfortable if my Johnny cab can do that Exorcist 360-degree head movement, turn around, look at the back, and say, "We'll be at your destination shortly," as opposed to just looking at nothing. I don't know. Maybe it's just psychological. And for me, that would look like this robot car, to be honest with you, except with more seats. Anyway, so this car has a reproduction box, which I don't have too many of those, but this is one of them. So if you happen to have one with the original box, you know what? Let me know, because I would probably buy it. But having said that, you know, Wild Bill's Robots, I think that's what it was called, back in the heyday, the early stages of robot collecting, his boxes looked like this. And I suspect a lot of subsequent boxes that have emerged over the years, I mean, from the 90s for probably 25 to 30 years, are copies of Wild Bill's robot boxes. And this is probably one of them. They had a certain vibe to them. You know, they were laser copies, if memory serves me correctly. But anyway, this is by ATC, and you could see the robot is flying with his propeller. And that's another kind of a weird harbinger, right? Because technically now, like, I've seen these flying cars from China and other places, and they're effectively drones, is what they are. Almost like the hovercrafts. You know, they have propellers, and they call them flying. And I guess they do fly. But almost would consider them mini helicopters, you know, helicopters with propellers. But back in the 60s, they decided they can just get away with one huge rotor in the rear, which I guess would help propel it forward. I don't know about up, but, you know, they're in zero gravity. And I guess my question is, if you're in space, the vacuum of space, does a propeller actually do anything? Does it create any momentum what would the propeller be pushing against if there's nothing there? That's an interesting question. Maybe you physics people can tell me. Maybe they would create force. I mean, I guess a rocket is pushing the same way. I don't know. But, once you're in space, they turn the rockets off, as far as I know. Unless it's Star Trek and you're using warp drive or Star Trek and it's the hyperdrive. Anyway, so here's this robot happily zooming in his Mercedes. They try to hide the fact that it's a three-pointed star. They didn't want Mercedes to get pissed, I guess. And because they're like, hey, you didn't pay a license. And he's flying through, and here's something that resembles Earth, but not too closely, because they probably didn't want to pay Earthlings a licensing fee either. And here's a phallic rocket sitting here doing something. It almost looks like it's ready to take off. And I don't know what the X2 over here, robot car prop flying, is doing, but he's doing something. And by the way, ATC's logo is this happy Santa Claus over here. Not bad for a reproduction box. You can see most of the details. And here he is still zooming through this mountainous landscape. No worries at all about getting hit. And he turned on his lights here, because he does, hey, it's in the dark and he doesn't want anything to hit it. Here's the end panel. All individual artwork for the three sides, the cover and the sides and the end panels, which is pretty cool, man. Nice. I love most of these robot cars. The iterations, the variations of these have really cool box art. So enough of the box. Let's move on to the toy. So the toy is the toy. This car has many flavors. As you saw in the opening, there's, 5? So this is the 6th. And I don't know if this is the 6th and final. I'll be honest with you, I can't even tell if this is the original propeller on here. It looks like it could be, and it looks like it could also be somebody made it. I don't know. Maybe they touched it up. I think it's original, but I'm not 100% sure. It has some spidering, some crazing, as they call it, which isn't too common on, a reproduction. But the litho like these, let me see if I get you close. It's not totally consistent, but who knows? Anyway, here's his cockpit. Can I say cockpit on YouTube without getting spanked? And probably just screwed up my algorithms. Oh, well. And look, he's got a couple of rockets here. I guess this is what's giving him really his propulsion. That's right, not the propeller. He's got these cool little chrome details here, kind of like a, fender accent. And midway up the door, I guess it's a guard. So some of these that I've done have actually and by the way, look at how they inverted the Mercedes star. They really didn't want to get sued. Instead of putting the bottom on the top, they just kind of flipped it around, which, hey, good for them. And it's number 3 for some reason. So some of these have that ejection mechanism, which sticks out and you press it and the whole robot flips out. I'm not a fan of that. I just feel they don't work all that great. And anyway, here's the side. Robot here, robot here. In case you couldn't figure it out, bottom's pretty shiny, so it doesn't look like it had a ton of wear. I mean, really shiny, actually. All the hubcaps, these are the things you have to look for. The chrome is pretty shiny. Here's his Santa Claus logo there. Let's see if we get a little closer. There we go. Look at that. I call him Santa Claus. I think that's what he is. He's carrying a bag of ATC. Yeah, that sounds almost like a drug, right? He's carrying ATC. And then here's the robot. Look at that. Beautiful face. Somebody someday should go to China and say, look, instead of making reproductions, why don't we just make this a big robot, right? We'll just copy the same color scheme and lithography. And you can see over here in the chest, which you probably won't see anywhere else, some of the details. It has nice details. See some of that lithography there. And just make big versions of these space toy robots. That would be cool, with the yellow eyes. They make so many generic things out of China. I'd love to see some of these smaller space toy robots actually created in a big, full-size walking. Obviously, he doesn't have any legs over here. He's just a torso. Just a torso. I don't want to be, what do they call it, ableist, because he doesn't have legs. But then again, robot might not need it. A robot. So anyway, how does it work? Friction, that spins the propeller. And does he have... Actually, has good friction for some reason. Over here. Let's do it this way. Well, I did the first time I tried it. The bad thing is I can get good friction by pressing down, but then you won't see the propeller. See what I'm saying? One more time from back here, and this way it can go right by you. And that, my friends, is your very cool ATC prop flying robot car. If you have made it this far and asked yourself, why the hell did I listen to this guy for 10 minutes? You know what? Thumb up the video because you deserve a medal. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I should probably ask that at the beginning. That's like the old algorithm thing, and YouTube always has that in their little training videos. Don't forget to ask. Like, I feel like I'm closing for the sale. Hey, did I give you enough information to subscribe? Well, if you like it, subscribe. But with that, thanks for your time. It's always appreciated, my friends. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will talk to you later. Hey, wait a minute. Ah, it was just a dream.